Yo, what's going on, Senpai Squad? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now we're here with a chapter 222 review of Black Clover, and boy, I didn't expect us to get such incredible information in this chapter. Now I think, and we'll talk about this when I have a look at what a couple of you guys had to say. When I look at this chapter, we got some huge information regarding the demon. I think a lot of the chapter was there was a lot of comedy relief, a lot of romance, all of that type of little like fan servicey type stuff, which is a bit less serious, but still nonetheless, at least in my opinion, quite enjoyable. But I can see some people wouldn't really enjoy that type of stuff. But the news we got regarding Noelle's mother and the truth about her, and the more truth about Noelle and the secrets he's been hiding. And then obviously the big one being Magicula, or whatever his official name is going to be. Unfortunately, I haven't read the official release yet, but I imagine it'll be something along the lines of that. But Magicula, a brand new demon. It was crazy. Saying that though, I think if I had to rank this chapter, I'd probably give it a 3, a high 3. I don't quite think it was a 4. It was definitely not a 5 in my opinion. It was a decent chapter, though I still enjoyed it. The cliffhanger was humongous. Just like last week's cliffhanger, this just keeps on going and rolling, and I still can't wait for the next chapter. So I suppose that is a sign of how good the chapter actually was, but I still think it was a very high 3. Not a disrespectful 3. I'm not going to brush this chapter off and just say, yeah, cool, it is what it is. It was a very, very high 3. But let's have a look at what some of you guys had to say about this chapter. So I was actually quite surprised. So 41% of you said it was a 5-star chapter, but then the second highest ranking was 26% of you going with a 2-star chapter review. I'm quite surprised, and we only had 2 people. We had KRL Chatagoon and Radwan Zaytoon chipping in with their opinions. And now, I don't know if this is just me, myself, the YouTube algorithm, or if it's sort of a reflection of Black Clover as a whole, that maybe right now, Black Clover is going through a bit of a rough patch, because I see, apart from the hardcore Black Clover fans, which I follow, obviously, not many people are talking about on Twitter, and my Black Clover reviews in comparison to other videos, they don't not hitting as much as they used to be, which is fine by me. I only do these to just talk to the actual fans of the series. That's all I do it for. But it is interesting to see a little bit of a drop-off, and I'm wondering, and I sort of want to know if you guys have a similar feeling about this, and whether or not Black Clover at the minute is just going through a little bit of a stagnant period. I think that's what I'm mainly asking about this week's chapter. If it is just a little rough patch, or is it doing fine and maybe I'm just getting the short end of the stick. But carrying on from that, we'll go with KRL Chatagoon first, who says it wasn't great at all. It's definitely a 3 or a 2-star chapter. So that's sort of going back to what I was just saying. Not good at all. That is a wild statement, one which I'm glad you've shared. I love it when some of you guys give me opinions that differ completely to mine. Now, I know I said it was a 3-star chapter as well, but I still thought it was a very decent chapter. But to say it wasn't great at all, it does interest me, Carol. I'd love to know what you and any others who share a similar opinion, why you think of that in the comment section down below. It's really intriguing. Like I said, I thought it was a good chapter. I enjoyed the romance aspects of it, especially with Asta's little Noelle's imagination of Asta in Dorothy's world. It was great to see more of Dorothy and her world. It was also really interesting to see on the actual chapter cover, seeing Dorothy with this big mythical beast. Now, I can't think the exact name. I know it looks a lot like a Mushana from Pokemon, which is the reason why I know what this thing is. I know, so I want to say off the top of my head, it's like a Japanese folklore or mythological beast, and essentially it eats dreams and nightmares, which fits in perfectly with Dorothy's ability of having her own little dream world. And I saw some people saying that maybe, because if you think about it, Dorothy's dream world is incredibly overpowered, and you'd think if she can just have her own dimension which she can take anybody into, where she's literally a goddess inside of it and she can do anything, there needs to be some sort of thing to hold that power back from being too broken. And I saw people saying that maybe it's a little bit similar to Julius's time magic, another ability which is absolutely broken beyond belief. However, the big drawback of it is the fact of the amount of time it actually takes to build up all of that time for Julius to use. What if for Dorothy's dream world, she has to actually sleep in order to sort of make it stronger, if that makes sense? Maybe if she's not got enough sleep stored up, she can't use it, or it's weaker, or something along those lines, because she spent the first half of the story, more than half the story, asleep, and it wasn't until she was needed, or in fact wasn't until she was an elf, actually I want to say, that she actually woke up. So I just want to know what you guys think of that. Do you guys agree with Dorothy's ability being incredibly overpowered, and maybe that being the drawback of it? And actually, another part of this chapter which I really enjoyed, which actually Radwan as Zaytoon jumps into here saying, it was honestly a really great chapter, a lot of intel. I enjoyed Dorothy's character, and it's amazing how she has her own world. Definitely top 5 strongest captain. Also, it's really great to see Noelle and an explanation of her mother's death. So yes, I feel like I was touching on this slightly last week as well, but Noelle's mother, she's sort of been under the radar slightly. No one really thought too much about her, but she's actually had a lot of build-up for a character who's been dead since the start of the series began, if that makes sense. Like, we know how it was been forced on her, how strong she is, how she indirectly, she's not responsible for Noelle's being outcast from her family, but she has a connection to that. It was explained how, like I said, how strong she is, and how I believe Leona couldn't even beat her. And I want to say that Noelle's mother was actually the sensei for Leona. You may have to correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but she's had a lot of build-up for a character that was just presumed to be dead via childbirth. It didn't seem to be anything more than that, but now all this huge information's come forward, and I want to give a great shout out to my friend Different on Twitter for this. Now, this was really interesting how you thought of this, but what if her mother isn't actually dead? What if it's a bit like how, Aster, when he, in the Witch Forest arc, when he first uses black anti-magic form, the demon wanted to take over his body. In the Elf Invasion arc, we have the Word Devil who just wanted a physical body. And now, what if this Magicula, maybe he wanted a body, and maybe that body was, I'm going to butcher her name here, Aesir Silver, Noelle's mother. Maybe that's the case. So maybe, just maybe, Noelle could potentially get to see her mother one last time. I definitely think her mother is going to play a humongous role in this new saga. As for Magicula, I don't know if he's going to be the new villain of this arc. In fact, I don't think he will be at all. I sort of don't want him to be, because you sort of got, with Tabata in his foreshadowing, you sort of got two versions of him. You've got the Tabata which foreshadows events that will happen literally just 2 or 3 chapters down the line. They're cool, nothing really major about them, just a bit cool nonetheless. But then you got the Tabata who foreshadows things hundreds and hundreds of chapters in advance. For example, the Vice Captain of Black Clover, we've still never seen or really had any mention of them. We've had, like I said a couple of weeks ago, Damnation's scales were foreshadowed in like chapter 10. What if this Magicula is going to be more the long-standing foreshadowing? What if he's not going to be appearing until maybe the very end of this saga in 100, 200 chapters time? Or maybe, and this is a humongous one, and I want to liken it sort of to the likes of Madara, what if he's going to be a villain which isn't going to show up for years and years, more of like an endgame type villain? Maybe this demon is going to have such high authority, maybe that's why you can't speak his name. I'm not too sure, but I'd be surprised if in the next 10 or so chapters he just miraculously appeared in the story. Another interesting thing with Magicula was actually who he's based off. Now, we saw he resembles somewhat of a goat. Now, if I'm not mistaken, goats have heavy symbolic connections to Satan in different mythology, stories, all of that type of stuff, if I'm not mistaken. So clearly, he's based off that type of goat. But also there's Magicula. Is there some sort of like Dracula aspect to him? And then you got Magicula. Maybe you've got something like Medusa in there as well. And obviously, now I only know this bit from Voldemort and Harry Potter, but I'm not too sure what Voldemort's based off, but maybe it's based off a similar thing. Obviously, in this chapter, we find out that you can't mention Magicula's name in the real world. So he's sort of a he who shall not be named type of character. So there's lots of little branches we could follow to sort of find an origin to Magicula, but already Magicula, and this may be just me, a little bit like what happened when the word devil was initially shown on screen and I lost my absolute marbles and went mental. Maybe this is again is me sort of being in the moment, a bit overexcited. But already Magicula is more interesting than the word magic devil to me. I'm really liking the setup that Tabata's building. This is one of the biggest, not necessarily doubts, but concerns I had going into a new saga, because Tabata had built up so much of the Elf saga way from the very beginning to last up to 200 chapters. I just wondered how he was going to actually fare then going into a brand new saga with all this established lore and characters and start a fresh type of deal. But so far, in these first, I want to say this new saga has only gone on for like 5 or 6 chapters. So far, in my opinion, he's done a great job. And then the very last thing I want to comment on, the really interesting part, is how the devils quite clearly are being set up to be the main antagonists of the series. Now, I'm sure that's, nothing groundbreaking. You don't have to be Einstein to figure that one out, But it's just the fact that they were saying that they're actually all over our world in the shadows, ready to pop out. That was crazy. I feel as though it's building up to another end game type thing. I 100% feel like the end game of Black Clover is going to be some form of massive war against the devils. I think the Spade Kingdom are going to be involved. Maybe Magicula and Asta's devil are going to lead the line. Maybe the word magic devil will make a weird reappearance in the story. I'm not too sure, but I feel as though that's the type of direction that Tabata's taken the story. So it's exciting to see, because if this story is going to last as long as he wants, and he said Naruto to One Piece type of length, that's like 700 plus chapters. How is he going to fill up all those gaps leading up to a moment like that? If that is the moment he's leading up to, maybe the end game hasn't even crossed our imagination just yet. I'm not too sure. But guys, if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you're not already to become a member of the Senpai Squad as well on our journey to hit 3K by the end of the year. So help out where you can. Leave all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below on everything about this chapter and whether or not Black Clover is going through a bit of a stagnant rough patch. I'll be seeing you guys in another video. But until then, peace. 執着の地を焦がす寡黙な炎おびき寄せられた神々の化身恐れを知らぬ剣が貫く目指す場所とはまだ見ぬ定め近づいてくる決戦の時